What's up, you lazy, entitled, basement-dwelling millennials, bootstrapping boomers, apathetic Xers, and goddamn Gen Z kids today? I've been wondering here recently if we're in a movie because Republicans never stop fucking projecting, and that has been the case as we've seen now with the deep state. We've been hearing about the deep state from dipshits for a decade now, and it's some secret organization of bureaucrats and unelected people exercising unauthorized power in the pursuit of their own nefarious agendas. And yeah, that definitely seems like a thing that's happening now, except it's not the Democrats doing it. Joining us today, we've got TrevorBWG from TikTok, just another Minnesota boy with the most Minnesota accent you'll ever hear in your life. And Grid Squares, former military security analyst, who is also on TikTok, does some great work on there as well, and will be a Minnesota boy here in a couple days. He's moving up and joining us here in the great white North Country, picking the coldest time of the year to move. So welcome, guys. Introduce yourselves.
Well, yes, TrevorBWG from TikTok here. I do a little bit of the politics. I have a master's degree in history where I specialized in U.S. constitutional history and ethno-history. I used to teach high school and middle school. I do a little bit of like comedy on the side, which is kind of what got me on TikTok in the first place. Except then I noticed that the only thing that people seem to give an actual shit about was just when I was talking about politics, making fun of politics, pointing out the absurdity of it all. So that ended up turning into me just doing political rants, and I guess I'm doing something okay on there. And yes, I do have the Minnesotan accent. The more I drink, the stronger it gets.
As with any good Minnesotan.
Fantastic. Well, I guess that's me. I'm Grid Squares. I'm also from TikTok, branching into YouTube and a few other places like Substack. I'm a disabled combat veteran, served in Afghanistan 2 different tours, 12 months each. I was an all-source intelligence analyst, so it was my job to find the bad guys, their stuff, and kind of obsess about them like that boyfriend they never really wanted. And, get that information to whoever needed it, be it Pentagon, local command, whatever. Right now I do political rants and a little bit of political satire. You'll find me kind of everywhere on the internet branching out. So if you have questions, let me know.
It's great. Welcome, both of you. I think with the constitutional history background and then sort of the military and intelligence background, it was a great combination of people to have on today to just talk about kind of corruption in the United States, the unconstitutionality of it, and sort of the security risks that we're facing with people who have a little bit more background. So I appreciate you both being willing and able to jump in here last minute and join us for that.
Yeah, especially with Trump's crazy, basically lining us up for the biggest constitutional crisis that we've ever faced as a nation here coming up. So, yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I just want to. Yeah, there is. I want to say though, because we're talking about the deep state, and I just think, like, Democrats should be flattered that Republicans, ever thought that they were organized and ballsy enough to pull off some deep state conspiracy. I guess they should be a little offended now that it wasn't that they thought they could do it. They were just once again projecting the shit that they were trying to do and now are doing. We only know they're doing it because they're not stupid enough to hide it. And lucky for them, I guess their voters are too stupid to see it happening right in front of their faces, which is frustrating for all of us who have been streaming it from the beginning. But kind of, I don't know if you guys got some thoughts on that. But
well, one of my biggest thoughts, and it's going to be me kind of instantly pushing back on you, I don't think the supporters at this point are too dumb to see it. I think that they genuinely want this at this point. The first, 2016, I could understand that. Oh, they're just dumb. They don't understand it. The second Trump election, hey, you saw what the last 4 years were. You should know better. This time around, they know it. They want it. And then when you have, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, whoever spewing all this complete and utter bullshit that they're looking for waste and fraud, or they're, cutting all this other shit. That's just that narcissistic ex-boyfriend saying shit that his friends can parrot. That way they all have plausible deniability. Well, you see, he said he was doing this, and I trust him and I believe him because he's a good guy. They know that that's complete and utter bullshit. You can hear it even in how they try to go after the left, like, oh, why are you so against going after waste and fraud in the government? But here's the thing, we're not. We would love it if somebody went after waste and fraud in the government. That's why so many of us have been Bernie bros, because Bernie Sanders wanted to go after waste and fraud in the government. But if you think for a second that Elon Musk, who is one of the largest receivers of government subsidies, is going after waste and fraud, you're fucking smoking crack at this point. And the thing is, most of them fucking know this is bullshit, but they have to parrot it anyways, because their only goal is fuck the left, fuck the liberals, fuck everybody who's not a white man.
Well, I mean, you're looking at talking about the deep state, and how do you establish a deep state? There's a lot of it that everybody wants to blame the current administration and their last go, and they have definitely been the catalyst and the engine of chaos. It's a multi-pronged attack, and you've seen it, spur from as little as local level school boards and stuff, where you have places like Moms for Liberty and their subsidiaries, and multiple little kind of Facebook groups that were all kind of quoting the same media packets. Because you got to remember, they operate on boots on ground grassroots operation. That's where they lost against, or the Democrats lost against them this time, is they were working at every level to get votes in. So yeah, there's some complacency in there. Yeah, and Joagan and I, we met somebody yesterday that was very much, say what you will, lost. But you see that at the local level. Then you start seeing it at the legislation building at, county level. And then you go up to state level. And then depending on, how that all goes, you're seeing them attack, religious sectors, school sectors, different organizations that keep us safe, like the FDA and, the state versions of that. This has been going on since Reagan, and just now they're getting the implementation and the tools to get what they need to end. So it very much is kind of a deep state, a deep-seated, long-term effort, and they told us what it was. They've been telling us about Project 2025 for years, and here it is in front of us. And
Project 2025 is the final book. I was going to use a Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings reference, and I can't remember which order they went in. But it's the last.
And you call yourself a millennial?
How dare you?
I'm the worst millennial. I'm like a grumpy 90-year-old man at heart. Just get the fuck off my lawn is kind of where I'm at. But
I like the dude from Up.
But yeah.
Even one of the things with what
it was the final book in a chapter, because like the Heritage Foundation started with the mandate for leadership with Reagan 50 years ago now, and that is. Like everybody's freaking out about Project 2025, and I'm like, you're at the end of the series. You're coming in on the final movie in the final chapter, and freaking out about something that some of us have been warning you about longer than others. And I get like it's kind of bubbling to the surface, but it has been a relatively concerted deep state, a kind of under the radar effort for a long time, and they've gotten bolder, and they've recruited people who are more unable to keep their mouth shut, but they've successfully indoctrinated their base enough prior to that happening where it just doesn't seem to matter anymore.
It does sort of feel like they've found the last Horcrux, and now they can finally slay the deep state that they think is out there, they say is out there. Right. The DEI and the woke administrative bureaucracy that's ruining America, and now they can do all their fascist things in the name of being righteous.
And if you want to talk the historical part of this, let's just talk 1930s Germany. How did this happen? Well, they were trying to say that there was a minority group that was infiltrating the government and getting specialized treatment and getting extra power. That just happened to be with Jewish people in 1930s Germany. Now you're having Trump doing the same thing here, where you have people within the government who got hired because of DEI. They only got the job because of DEI, and we need to get them out of here, because DEI is also synonymous with liberalism. DEI is synonymous with being a Democrat. So now all of a sudden the Democrats are protecting the DEI deep state.
DEI is just the way that they're allowed to say the N word or call gay people the F word or anything without getting punched in the face in public. Like that's all CRT is. That's all DEI is. That's all woke is. It's literally just them being allowed to say all of the things that they're not, allowed to say without getting Nazi punched in the face, and that's it's unfortunate, and it's funny because like they've replaced DEI with their own DEI. Like these are the least qualified people we've ever seen in, not even in government. Like if you were working at McDonald's and they were hiring these motherfuckers, you'd be like, these are some unqualified fry flippers or burger flippers. Like these are not people qualified for this job. But a big part of that is that these are people that are yes men. Like it's not their qualifications are not that they're good at the job. Their qualifications are that they're not going to say no to Donald Trump and the Heritage Foundation's agenda.
Their biggest qualification is that they are willing to fellatiate Donald Trump to completion. And then they wipe the little, orange makeup off of their lips and say, thank you, that was tasty. That's their qualifications right now.
Mm-hmm.
You think he spray tans as Johnson? Because, I mean, I guess it's possible.
My biggest question whenever I get these people in like my comments is, does he like put the orange makeup down there and does it stain your teeth?
See, and how would you want to apply it? See, at that point, to kind of treat it like a gold bond situation, open up and just hope for the best. I mean, there's from what we know of the situation, it's not a lot of coverage needed. So I think it's
true. It's true.
Stormy Daniels, let us know that.
Yeah.
Since now we're on the
things we
talk.
need to know. What I want to know, because he's at least not going in there and getting spray tanned in like the suit and tie. So whose job is it to at least see Donald Trump shirtless and have to do that? Because I feel bad for that person. That person needs a hazard pay.
I think it's only neck and face. So it was like you can see it. You can see it around his whole face, and like I think it's only neck up. That's it. I think
it's gonna look like a bunch of soldiers with tans. Like seriously, we tan weird. We have like tan hands.
Yeah, your hands get tan as fuck, and your face gets tan. Yeah, everything else is white.
I gotta say the most inappropriate thing about Donald Trump's neck, if I'm allowed. We've all seen Austin Powers 3. When Fat Bastard loses the weight and his neck looks like a vagina.
It looks... No, don't do that.
We made that joke on the debate night, and some people did not like it, but a lot of people were like, I can't unsee it. And you can't unsee it.
No. Once you see it, it's a labia neck. I think I got lectured on my incorrect use of female anatomy because I'm a guy and I apparently don't know the correct name for all the correct parts, and the parts that it looks like wasn't the parts I said. I don't remember, but I
think the minor or the major.
Yeah, something like that.
It was the Little Dipper, actually.
See, this is why we're the ones who should be making legislation about women's health care.
We know best.
Clearly...
Satire. Joe for Congress.
Keep them women out of women's health care 2026. Hold on, I got the wrong one.
I mean, can you just picture Pete Hegseth in like, an OBGYN room just like licking his fingers like, all right.
So circle it back though, like and talking about Pete, another deep state, whatever. This dude is not qualified. I mean, I'm a nobody, folks. I am small fries. I've briefed some important people. I've brushed shoulders. Cool. I almost feel that I am more qualified, both as a former alcoholic and joke, but somebody who's brushed shoulders. I feel like I could do the job better, and that's how low the bar is. There are way more people that are qualified. I mean, I think there's some 7-year-olds next door that might be have a strong run at the job. But jokes aside, go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead and finish. Sorry, I thought you were done.
I'm just saying it's another thing to destabilize our systems, and that was what I was going to get at. That attack on every level is to destabilize everything we got going on.
Grid, I take offense to that, though. To quote the very honorable Justice Kavanaugh, I like beer.
I love beer. That
I
crime?
have a calendar right
I
here.
like sticking beer up my ass with my bros. It's not that big a deal.
Leave Brittany alone. Oh, wrong ones.
No, I couldn't believe that somebody who ran a company-sized element ever thought that they'd be like qualified to run the whole Department of Defense. Like, are you kidding me?
Do you think
mhm.
Pete Hegseth knew that this was coming? Or do you think he was just like sitting around one day, like figuring out how to lie to his newest wife, and then he gets like a phone call? Hey, Pete, I'm gonna have you in charge of the DOD, and he just like spits out, and you're like, what?
No, well, here's the
Pete,
I mean, sure.
who in the military is backing the current administration? I don't like saying his name anymore, but like the turpentine tyrant who actually backs him in the military. He's literally talked shit about everybody, and he was talking about indicting people for doing the things that he caused. If we talk about the Doha agreements, I won't get into that, but
Yeah.
this is part of what I was getting at though with deep state stuff and with Hangover Hegseth here. You got a guy who is not only completely unqualified, but now he's pulling security details from General Milley, which is direct retribution for somebody who spoke up, fulfilling his oath of office against Trump and things that he was doing that were unethical, illegal, unconstitutional. When he's under threat from Iran, and you've got orders for him to now be investigated for who the fuck knows what. He's fired numerous people not loyal to Trump in these situations. He sent the entire military into disarray. He's removed media access from anybody that's not a right-wing, alt-right propaganda outlet at this point. Like, that is deep state stuff right there. That is somebody who is doing loyalist bidding for the president and not with no regards to the Constitution, and making sure to remove any obstacles that are not loyal to one man. That's scary stuff.
Yep. And mind you, one of the things that's supposed to be happening there when you talk about our checks and balances is the legislative branch is supposed to be checking that. What are they not going to do right now? None of the elected Republicans are going to do anything about this for two different reasons. One, there might be some of them who used to have integrity and they just fear getting an Elon Musk backed primary. Because we've been seeing some of these Republicans get primaried out. The ones who actually have a shred of a spine get primaried out by a Trump yes man. But then two, the rest of them, they want this. This is what they want. This is what they signed up for. So they are going to allow it to happen. Even when you talk about some of these different executive orders that are not constitutional, you are having judges saying, you need to stop this. They are not stopping this. But the DOJ is now ran by Pam Bondi. Is Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, going to do anything to check that balance? No, they are not. So the executive branch is not being checked by anybody. And the courts are obviously powerless.
At least Pam Bondi is slightly less rapey than the original selection, so that's good.
Matt Gaetz wasn't even qualified to chaperone high school prom.
So can I pose a question? I mean, I don't know if what y'all's backgrounds are, but have y'all been in a government secured area other than for secret or hire? Yes, no.
No.
Okay. I was in secret.
Not that special.
Okay, so secret. So you understand, how tight some of those people are. You can angel hair pasta out their fifth point of contact with how uptight some of us are.
Mm-hmm.
And how is it that Elon Musk and all these other people, these non-elected officials, these people that these secret or these special electees that couldn't make me a bagel in my skiff, let alone go to my J skiff. I mean, hell, I unironically got a little patch right here, whoop-de-doo. But how are they able to rifle through everything civilian, be it medical or government contract stuff? How can he go through the stuff that I remember we had a kid bring in a thumb drive that he was supposed to bring into a secured area. He was supposed to leave it in there. He didn't. He left it in his pocket. Never left the pocket. Never saw the light of day, but he left. Kit went from an E4, that's a specialist, all the way down to an E1, had 2 months of, extra duty, and they threw the book at him. And the comparison here is, folks, this kid just walked in and out of a door with, out checking his pocket. Now you have somebody rifling through, dropping code, stealing our information, yours, mine, doesn't matter, military or otherwise. He's got everything in his hands and everything. And that is very much, grasping of power and, putting it in. And like y'all are saying, the checks and balances aren't working. We have the Democrats here also spineless, sitting there at the door, not pushing past a dude with a cartoon Band-Aid on his neck. Looks like a Toy Story bad guy.
And I think that is one of the craziest things about realizing where we are in our brave new world is the fact that all of these checks and balances we thought we had, all of these security measures we thought we had, they're like our money. They only existed because we believed they existed, and all that held them up was we just thought that, like, you can't do this. There was apparently no actual real teeth. Like, the courts say don't do that, and if somebody keeps doing that and there's nobody willing to enforce it, then they can just keep doing that,
What has happened to our military and stuff? Like, I'm sorry, I've literally been in secured areas where I was the literal thing that they would have to get through, armed to the teeth and armored, looking like a Hollywood extra, stiff as crap, saying, no, you can't. And, there's been points where I have had to put the barrel of my, weapon into somebody's chest, say, hey, no. It's the most I've ever had to escalate, thank any and everything. But, I wasn't guarding anything of any value. Literally, I wasn't. I can't tell you what was in there, but it wasn't anything that anybody could do anything with. But I still had that, security presence, and that was working for the DoD. And what happened to that? That seriously just blows my mind that there's any sort of access to this stuff. Shouldn't take someone like me to be like, hey, wait, I've seen the movies. This is not allowed, right? Or is that just me?
I do love hearing in the comments somebody said, not to worry, though. Schumer and Durbin are writing strongly worded letters, so it should be taken care of in no time.
Here's going to be the one rebuttal I will make to that with the Democrats. Because right now, yes, they are showing us a massive lack of action. They are not really doing anything. But that poses two questions. One, what can they do right now? They could filibuster. Yes, they've tried that a little bit. But Republicans can easily overrule the filibuster rule. So, two, what could they also do? They could allow it to happen and then hope that the rest of the voters who, I can't vote for a woman, or even those far leftists who thought, well, Kamala Harris is going to be just as bad as or worse at Gaza than Trump. And maybe it will cause some people to pull their heads out of their asses.
Right,
one of the reasons Biden... Go ahead.
Oh, I just, like, I hear this argument all the time, and I'm not to be a dick, but I'm a little tired of it for a few reasons. Is one, we've had this, we've seen Republicans stop Democrats in control of everything repeatedly, over and over and over again. They will pull out every stop. They will break any precedent. They will do anything, to not confirm a Supreme Court judge, to not allow a legislation to go to the floor, to not do. And if they can't do that, they will throw every hissy fit. They will file every injunction. They will file every lawsuit. They will tie it up in every district, county, local court, every federal court, everything that they can possibly do to gum up the works, and then they'll go on Fox News and Breitbart and some dipshit's podcast, Newsmax, and see their reflection in Charlie Kirk's head and talk to that, whatever they need to do to get anybody to listen to them, to create a narrative, to gum up the works and create outrage. And Democrats are just like, oh, well, we don't have any power, we can't do anything. Like, the fuck you can't. Like, start filing lawsuits. There should be 37, like, every single member of the House should be filing a lawsuit. Like, do something, anything.
Again, and I'm going to push back on you a little bit. Mind you, I say this as somebody who is a left-leaning individual. We are seeing, I think it was 22, 23 states right now, Democrat states with Democrat attorney generals. They are filing these lawsuits. They are doing that. But right now, one of the strongest tactics, and I don't know if this is the tactic or not, one of the strongest tactics that they could do is just to let these guys, let these fucking maniacs fuck everything up because we're 24 days in, and we're
Mm-hmm.
already seeing Republican voters, Republican farmers, Republican workers who are getting fucked over hard, and they're being vocal about getting fucked over hard. What is some of the best PR you can have other than saying, hey, it's been 2 months. You fucking believe
Sure,
us now?
It didn't
sure.
And
before,
that
though.
could,
We had a
maybe
whole
that's
4 years
the tactic.
before. Well, no, it's
Yeah,
not though. I'm gonna. Sorry to cut off for everybody, but no, we had how many
no, no.
hundreds of thousands of Americans did we lose under COVID because of the mismanagement and the multiple mishandles of that? I myself ended up working a job in a hospital that I never should have been in. Saw the freezer trucks myself in Reston, Virginia, right down the road from the White House itself, as he was talking about putting bleach in veins and injecting UV light and other miracles that horse dewormer, and then he said the horse dewormer, and then you had people dropping their literal intestines out of their fifth point of contact. It's disingenuous at this point, and there's really not really any let it break. It already broke. Yes, we
And
got 2 months, and how much more worse can you let it get before we can't come back? And that's the thing. They're trying to make it so there is a point of no return, and we can't allow that to happen.
Oh,
and the
right
and the
now the
problem
goal.
too. But the problem too with the let it break thing is that's just part of the ratchet effect that's gotten us here. Is Democrats always let them take to the point where it looks so fucking bad. You're like, are you really gonna vote for this shit again? Come on. I mean, I know we're not great, but we're not this. But we can never pull that back, and that's what they've been doing for 50 years. Is just 60 years. Is just breaking the stuff that can't be repaired again and allowing that to be a new status quo. Like where do we? There's got to be a stopgap at some point, and
We were far past it. I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we're far past that. Like, as you said, they've been picking away at this. We've mentioned this a few times. They've been picking away at it since Reagan. And where we're at the precipice of this. We either fight back or we lose the American dream. We lose the American way of life. And, we've never been great, like I say in a lot of my stuff, but, we've done great things, but it's never been great for everybody. And they are now trying to make it so that everybody doesn't exist. And that is a huge part of the whole problem, too. They're erasing identities off of pictures and off of maps. They're the LGBT. It's now LGB, not LGBTQIA. It's we want to get rid of birthright citizenship. How far does that go? Because I'm second generation here. My family came here in the 1950s, right? So and you have all these ethical questions that have never been asked, and they just wanted to go to a packed Supreme Court, which depending on how they're being paid or how they're feeling on that certain golf day before they decide, or whatever luxury trip they take, where do you fight it? And that's where I think a lot of us are floundering. I've heard the question, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
And to be fair, there are a few Democrats, like Senator Chris Murphy, Maxwell Frost in the House. Obviously, AOC and Bernie are doing what they can, which is essentially just bring awareness at this point. They don't have any, Hakeem Jeffries, like, what leverage do we have? And as much as I fucking want to slap him in the face for going on CNN and saying that, like, he's not wrong.
It's also frustrating though to see like I wasn't paying attention to how Hakeem Jeffries has voted on all of these like Senate confirmations and he's
He's a Senate, I think.
Yeah.
He's House
I
of
haven't been paying.
Representatives. Hakeem Jeffries is House of
Yeah,
Representatives.
he's a congressman, so he's not voting on those. But seeing like Amy Klobuchar, our senator, sitting out here and voting, she's voted for, I think, the majority of Trump's cabinet picks. Why aren't you even give some symbolic resistance? Goes a long way. Saying like, hey, we're still here in the fight. We're not just gonna roll over. But when you're voting to say, yeah, RFK Jr., sure, why not? Sounds good to me for Health and Human Services. What are we doing? What are we doing as a party? And that's part of the thing is yeah, okay, if they're going to break the system, let them break it, but you don't have to fucking help them. You should have it on paper that, hey, I dissented to this every step of the way in every way I could, and they're not fucking doing it.
And you're seeing a bunch of them, especially in swing states, you're seeing a bunch of them trying to rationalize. Like when they talk about RFK, well, there's some things that RFK says that I do agree with. We do need to make sure that we're eating healthier and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, does that outweigh RFK literally being a former heroin guy who wants to ban vaccines? And then he flip-flops. He flip-flops on his own stance when it comes to vaccines. I mean, the guy has a fucking worm in his brain, too, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you can't tell me if that was a Democrat,
Hey,
Republicans wouldn't be outraged.
It's a dead worm. Come on.
It's a dead worm.
It starves.
Imagine all the worm shit in his brain.
Okay, to be fair, Klobuchar voted for 4 people that I've never heard of. Whoever Burgum is for the Interior, I feel like I've heard of him maybe the most. And then every single Democrat voted for Marco Rubio,
which I
for Secretary of State.
Which is again frustrating. Why? Why did they vote for him?
But here's the thing: Marco Rubio is the tamest of those picks.
Yeah, like, he was the tamest, and the first thing he does is jump on a plane and fly to El Salvador and negotiate how to build prisons to send fucking American citizens to, like, concentration camps. Like, that's not fucking tame. Like, that's out of your fucking gourd. Like, the Secretary of State, which we can now just call the SS, I don't know why we need the O in there anymore, is flying to Central American countries and negotiating them building concentration camps where they're like, yeah, we'll take American citizens, and he's like, yeah, he said he'd take American citizens, and Trump's like, yeah, I would send American citizens, and like, that's not fucking tame
criminals. We don't care about them. They're the worst of the worst.
I saw
not like those ones I pardoned.
Look here, it's gonna be fantastic. You need to get me doing it. Anyway, like I've seen Gitmo with my very own 2 eyes, and I had 4 at the time, so it was even more spectacular. Yeah, 800 is generous. You hear the number 800, that's very generous. That's, generous. And they want to build a compound for 30,000. Okay, who's paying for it? No one's asking this question. Who the fuck's paying with it? They never even paid for the wall, the little bit of the wall that they did. So where's this money coming from? Where's all the, is it coming from Elon and, his whole deep dive into bullshit? It's coming from the
military budget.
Yeah, no, it's not. Like, you think they're going to give up that shit?
Once again,
that's what I've been reading.
Where the fuck are Democrats? Because anytime a Democrat comes out and's like, hey, we should maybe feed school children or allow people to go to the doctor without going bankrupt, and Republicans are like, who's paying for it? And now they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to ship immigrants on planes at however $1 million a pop round trip to a place that we need to apparently spend millions or probably billions of dollars expanding to house all these people. And where are the Democrats coming out? Like, who the fuck's paying for this? Why are they never beating this drum? Democrats consistently let Republicans build the narrative, lead the narrative, and they just sort of jog along after it, hoping they catch it someday. And it's like,
and
where are they?
That's one of the frustrating things for me, and because there's been a few politicians in the TikTok space, some of the older folk, getting on there and trying to be relevant and trying to figure it out and trying to, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. What they need to be doing is stepping the hell back and letting younger people take their place. There's a few. I think there's one, Trev, that you and I interact with quite frequently.
Mara Keller from Georgia.
Wonderful person. Means
yeah,
well.
She was on my lives here recently.
Yeah, 65 years old. That's how I met her. Was your live?
Yeah, actually, really? I think a wonderful person. But like,
there we go. The lives are just bringing everybody together lately.
But what does that individual offer that hasn't been offered? I don't think they're going to be able to offer the tenacity like the Jasmine Crockett's or the Porters out there. We need something with teeth.
So I do want to point this out, especially for like people like her who are running. The guy who ran for my state level representative here in Minnesota and stuff like that. Another retired guy, older guy, who I feel like he's a great guy. I've had him on the podcast. But I do feel is like a little out of touch with stuff, right? He's wellish to do. He's older. He's retired. But the problem is that the younger people, the people with fire in their belly, are also the people who have 2 kids and student loans and a mortgage and do not have the fucking time to run. And the Democratic Party will not put the money behind people who are running for those districts in Georgia. To do that sort of thing. So like that is part of the problem is these are the people who are available, have the time and the disposable resources to do it, and we can't shun them in those particular positions for that, because they have something to offer, and that's that they're the only person who has anything to offer for that particular space. And I would love to see better people, or not better people, but younger people in those positions. Different, mm-hmm.
I can actually speak a little bit to this. In 2016, I was the campaign manager for Grossenberg for House, which was the local Minnesota House of Representatives race. Mm-hmm. This was Brown County, Minnesota, and he was running against Paul Torkelson. Paul Torkelson is like an old school George H.W. Bush Republican. I know he means well. We have philosophical differences, but I don't think he's a terrible human being. He had been in that position for like a dozen plus years. Here you have this physics teacher who is long hair in a ponytail, physics teacher, running for this position. The DFL, because this is Brown County, one of the reddest counties in Minnesota. I remember the story he told me, I don't know whether or not it's true, was he was at the DFL meeting and they were like, well, we don't have a candidate to run against Paul Torkelson. And the previous person got like 7 or 8% of the vote. And then they're like, well, does anybody want to run? And he was just kind of like, what do I got to do to run? And they're like, you're running. So he got drunk. Allegedly, he got drunk. He named me his campaign manager. And then he called me and was like, you're my campaign manager. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you're a social studies teacher. You know politics. I'm like, but I don't know how to run a fucking campaign. So we did it. We started going through that process. There were some people who were like, gosh, this guy, because at the time I think he was 31. Or no, he was younger than me. So he was still in his 20s. He was still upper 20s. I was, I think, 29. And we're trying to figure out how are we running a campaign. We had people who were, generally right-leaning, generally Republican-leaning, but they liked that he was young because Torkelson's like 70s. And they're like, we like this. But they also just didn't like that he was like an educated science guy. Well, we did better than the previous election. Not by much, but by like 4 or 5% or something like that. But it was still, it's like, this is what we need. We need people who are willing to lose, but they're willing to lose with that grace and dignity of trying, getting their voice out there, getting their name out there, getting some of that recognition, speaking with people. We knew we were losing that race. We knew we were not winning that. But we went out there to have these conversations anyways. And I will say, Joagan, you made a point the other day that I'm going to reiterate. I would love to watch you get on the stage with Pete Stauber and tell him to lick your butthole. I would pay money to be there for you. Like, hey, by the way, Pete, this is my butthole. I want you to lick it.
That's worth $100. That's worth $100 donation for sure.
Hey, there we go. I just figured it out. I just figured out a new fundraising. You just delivered it to me on a silver platter. You get somebody to run, and then you say that like, for this level donation, I will say this to my opponent in a debate, and like you just have like a few options, and you like meet those fundraising goals. Like, I meet this fundraising goal, I will do this. You meet this fundraising goal, I will. You I will tell him that.
Twitchify politics.
I'll make a your mom joke. I'll be like, yeah. Hey, your mom walking okay this morning? She was waddling a little bit when she left my house last night. Like, whatever.
Your mom voted down Obamacare.
For one $50 donation, Joagan will just flash a nipple while Stauber's speaking on stage, and then just put it away. Go with it. That's it. Just $50. Sign me up.
Someone in the chat
in the middle of him talking, just start doing the Ricky Bobby thing. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Throw them off their whole game. I'd do that shit. That'd be hilarious.
While he's talking, just be like, "Hey, tell your mom I had a great time, but it itches now. Why does it itch after your mom?" He'd be in the middle. Well, you see, when we're talking about the Department of Defense, hey, your mom made my pee-pee. What? Just throw him.
This
would
pretty
be
awesome.
This would be
is that
a top-notch fundraising strategy. No, there's no
10
lie.
out of 10.
There's no lie in here. I mean, look, when Donald Trump's, because that's the thing, is then they'd bitch about it. They'd bitch about you doing it and be like, whatever. Donald
How
Trump's
dare
out here
they.
calling women horse faces and bragging
Like,
about grabbing them by the
Donald Trump
pussy.
paid a
So
porn star. Why can't we tell him to lick our butthole?
It's
Yeah,
a
He made fun of
disgrace.
he made fun of the disabled too. You know,
Right.
maybe people do have tiny hands and orange faces. You know, what do you know? You shouldn't
And then
judge.
tiny other things.
yeah.
Very, very, very smart.
Like, I can just pitch it out. And here we have, off Joe Wagon. Here's a video of him getting drunk on a Sunday with his wife, and you'd be like, Pete fucking Hegseth. Again, I go back to my original thing. Lick my
Pete
butthole.
Stop.
Sorry, I should have
Oh.
done it at a strip club. I apologize for
Sorry,
letting you
maybe I
guys
should cheat on
down.
my wife. Like,
How
Pete
dare you,
Hegseth.
not live up to the Christian values or the MAGA Christian values? How
But,
dare you?
Hey, Joagan, keep in mind, if it is bad for Doug Emhoff to go out getting groceries with his wife, Kamala Harris, how terrible are you having drinks with your wife?
Right, I know. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I
mean-
and I cook for my wife too. I'm such a beta cuck, Like, my
Yay!
God.
You know, I was told I'm gay for liking my wife, and if that, I mean, sure. I mean, I work on my nails and stuff. I mean, that's not an insult. I'm comfortable with myself. That's fine.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, people
You know,
who've never consensually touched a woman in their life telling you you're gay for spending time with your wife or having a wife, like liking your wife. That's
The other
precious.
day, my partner was on that time of the month, so I went out and got pads with her. I guess that makes me gay.
oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
that,
did you carry your purse while you did it?
The amount of times I've carried that woman's purse. Yeah. Oh, you want to try on? You want to try on that top? Let me carry your purse for you. Will you try on? I'm sorry, that's just some
There's no
king
saving
move
you.
right there.
I
You
think
take
you
care of
can't
your
get in
partner.
politics. I think you're too
Absolutely.
liberal. I think that it'll just drag you
Yeah.
for having shoulders that carry purses. I don't
Well,
know.
and it's like, have you seen
controversy.
the tactical baby gear stuff that some of these fucking Alpha Chad bros get now too? Where
I saw
it's
some
like,
in
it
the
looks like,
PX.
oh my God, it's like, dude, like, just in case people think me taking care of a baby is gay, it's like, that is your fuck trophy, dude. That is your proof that you had sex with a woman. Like,
Here-
it's the least gay thing you could possibly do.
I'm gonna if
We
I
had
go back
sex
to
one
base.
time. I can prove it.
Here's the thing about some of those. If you look at them, the adult there's one I saw that was like a plate carrier, and it had a plate for the adult, and there was a baby in the front, and there's no plate for the baby. So what are we really doing here? Is this the Elon Musk?
Hey,
By the way,
that's
Elon is
the
carrying
Elon
his-
Musk. Yeah, that's the Elon Musk plate carrier right there.
He's carrying that kid around, so please, like they won't get a kid, and I think they're grossly underestimating how much.
It's like you even have
That's
Elon
scary.
Musk
Like, you
using
should not
his
endanger
own
a kid.
child as a human shield in the Oval Office.
It's horrifying.
Like,
Yeah.
please
That
don't Luigi me. I have a kid.
That was so weird. That was really freaking
The
weird.
kid's
But
over
that-
there mouthing insults
that
to
kid-
Trump, though.
That kid was the
Motherfuckers,
hero we
oh,
needed. That
shit
kid
on
looked
your
at
desk.
President Trump was like, "Can you just shush your mouth?" It's like, yes, Elon's kid with the weird name that Elon gave you because he doesn't have a brain.
What was
Oh
the
my
Super
God.
Bowl
That
of the
poor-
year when that kid was named? Is that the kid's name?
XY or something.
It's
like a weird
symbol. It was literally named symbol.
Yeah, it's
Like
it's
fucking
fucking alien
symbol.
shit.
The name formerly
Because
known as Prince.
because Musk is obsessed with the letter X.
He
Because
is.
he's weird.
He's named every one of his companies X at one point in time, basically.
Yeah.
Like they
PayPal was
all
called X at one point. Like,
Keep
and then
in mind,
somebody
Space
bought it. They're like,
X.
this is the dumbest fuck. Yeah.
X.
Keep in mind, this dumb motherfucker literally had one card that was the Model S, one card that was the Model 3, and one card that was the Model X because he's a fucking toddler. And now he's a part of the deep state, sending his 19-year-old altar boys into the U.S. Department of Treasury, downloading the data. Why does he keep
Ooh,
these
we brought
kids
it back
around?
around.
Probably
in deep
for the
state
same fucking
conversation.
reason Catholic priests keep fucking altar boys around. He's lonely.
It's all relevant.
Oh my
That's the
God.
thing. It's overwhelming because it's all relevant.
Right? There's just so
Yeah.
much to unpack, but it all matters in its own. It all fits into the puzzle of the Rubik's cube that is the fucking downfall of democracy. That they're trying to we're trying to help people not solve, but they have an easy mode. Like they're being told the directions of how to ruin the country and how to destroy American democracy. And we're like, no, it's actually the other direction, the other way, and it's not really working right now.
Just play tic-tac-toe though, and they're trying to use the same premise to solve.
Well, that's why it's taken them so long.
I mean, really, our only saving grace is how incompetent and stupid these motherfuckers are, that they continue to fuck up. And then you have too many people who are all the same. There are too many people who need all of the attention on themselves all of the time. And when one of them starts stealing the attention, the other one gets jealous and pissy and says something or does something dumb that then blows up in their face, and then they've got to do their own damage control to try to get back on track. And that's the only thing that we've got going for us.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit on that. That was our saving grace of the first administration, is he was too fucking incompetent, get shit done. He had 4 years to prepare, which is why we have Project 2025. That is why all those authors of Project 2025 are now being given this access. They were prepared this time, which is why they are shutting shit down. Because this time they fucking prepared.
I understand that. They're more prepared than the last time. They're less prepared than I expected them to be going into this. Like But here's the thing, is because Elon Musk and Donald Trump are just egotistical maniacs, right? Like, and Donald Trump's got a pretty severe case of dementia at this point on top of it. And so you can't, yeah, probably.
So it's syphilitic line, I'm telling you.
But they're not able to keep him on the leash and on the track that they want to keep him on. And it's really, really easy to derail him just by hurting his feelings and fracturing his fragile little ego. And it's the exact same thing with Musk. And so these people are, and then you got those two fighting for the spotlight now. I mean, the whole President Musk thing, how much that undermined Donald Trump and just made him fucking have a little meltdown. All of that right now is still that incompetence that the Project 2025 people can't control. And that is what is still gumming up the system. It's like, how often do you think they're sitting back there behind the scenes like, no, don't say that? Oh, like
every time,
all the fucking time, all the time. And then they're gonna like walk this back, like we shouldn't be making a Trump resort in Gaza, guys. Like that was not like no, we didn't mean that. You know, like it's just the saying the quiet part out loud all the time. That is.
I don't necessarily think that will possibly still end up with a like sort of Nazi Germany sort of state, but I do think that Trump his incompetency is to our best benefit. I was listening to somebody talk about how they would really be scared of a Trump presidency when instead of going with the Steve Bannon fire hose strategy, which they've been doing, if they go at this in a more methodical and quiet and just do your executive orders and don't, make any flubs and do things in an organized manner. The fact that they're doing everything all at once and just like throwing it out, they're basically still chimpanzees throwing shit on the wall and seeing what sticks.
Well, there's that.
That's part of the point.
Because there's other stuff that is passing at different state levels because everybody's focusing on him. You have different at state levels, like I was saying at the start.
Yeah, I don't know if that was going to change with Trump being president or not, though. The state level stuff, they
have the distraction of him now. That's the thing. He's this grand spectacle. Everybody's got eyes on him.
Fair.
So, yeah, it was going to go through, but I think it may have had more opposition because there would be more optics on that rather than this fucking dog and pony show of what controversy is it this week or today or what at the day at this point.
Yeah.
That's just my viewpoint on it.
I mean, I think we are seeing I don't know if you guys are on Reddit or any of the, that type of social media, but every week I see a new protest that's being shared and a different type of like purchasing protest or just like a physical protest. And it's every week now. And I think it's partly because they've been so vocal about the stuff that they can't hide it. And people are starting to pay it. And it's small now, but this is what it needs to begin with.
But that is part of the point of why they are just trying to ram everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
If it was one thing at a time, we can stop one thing at a time. But there are 10 different things right now to be outraged about. So there are 10 different things that people want to protest about. That is the point. And then the other point is, if you ram this through as fast as you can, legally or not, even if a judge is telling you not to, you're just trying to cause permanent damage so that down the line it can't be fixed. We have even seen this with, let's just take the Department of Education, for example. For the last 40 years, Republicans have been doing everything they can to weaken the Department of Education, because then they use that as their excuse as to why it needs to go away. Look at how shitty the Department of Education is. We need to get rid of it. It's shitty because
the whole
you
Republican
fucking
mantra
made it
is
shitty.
the government. The whole Republican mantra is the government doesn't work, and I'm gonna break it to prove it to you. Like,
Yep.
like that's what they do. They get in, they underfund the system so they don't function. They're gonna be like, look, I told you it doesn't work because I made sure it didn't work.
You even look at the infrastructure bill. Democrats did not need Republican input to pass that. So what did Republicans do? They compromised, watered it down, took it from this amount to this amount, this amount to this amount, and they voted against it anyways. Mm-hmm. And then when a bridge gets built or a water treatment plant gets built, they are there to take credit for it, but they voted against it.
I just want to say that you just brought yourself full circle when we were talking about Democrats at the beginning and saying that they're not doing anything because they're waiting for the system to break enough to be like, look, we told you so, and that way we can do this. Democrats are doing this when they don't have to all the time, allowing Republicans to break the shit when they have the control to not allow them to do it.
And here will be my biggest dig at Democrats.
Yeah.
They are so fucking worried all the goddamn time about decorum. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to upset anybody. They want to be the good guys. And that's why they look like, God, I don't want to say the word, but that's why they look like fucking pussies all the time. And apparently we can say that these days. Because they don't fucking do anything. They want to be the good guys. They don't want to upset anybody. They don't want to upset the people who are being such goddamn shit.
Here's the thing, and I'll tell you why they don't want to. A lot of them are also making money off this. You got to realize a lot of these people are, if you look at their investments, they are.
A lot of their donors
pocket.
paid for this, and they don't want the Democrats fucking it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not going to, because they're going to still get rich too. Their constituents like us screwed, but them, oh no, they're rolling fine. Because once again, they're old politicians that have been in there for so damn long, talking about the career ones that we've seen, the Nancy Pelosi's, whatnot. And what do they got to lose? They're going to be gone soon, and they're just building their little empires or whatever anyway.
But what do you got to lose at this point? You're 97 fucking years old. Like, could you stop fucking us for the last couple years of your life? Just bow out.
What about Feinstein?
I died in her chair.
I shit you not. What I want to fucking see the next time a Democrat is elected to president is on day one, I want them signing executive orders. I want the Gulf of America to get renamed the Gulf of Donald Trump has a small dick. I want Mount Denali to get renamed Donald Trump is a worthless sack of shit. Clearly they can fucking do it. Just fucking do it. You know, let's rename Florida fuck you Donald Trump land, because you just fucking sign a thing, right?
Just rename Florida Impotence. Why don't you stand out more in the Atlantic?
We're gonna call
the Mississippi River is now the Trump cannot get on Erection River. There you go. He's an old man.
Oklahoma would not be called shithole, Oklahoma.
But getting back to the flood the field aspect of what they're doing and the breakdown in the competency of kind of they need the Donald Trumps and the Elon Musks to have that cult of personality to get people on board with their plans, because let's be real, the fucking Mike Johnsons and the JD Vances of the world are, they're not getting anybody to come around and be on their team. They were the kids picked last for dodgeball and the first kid fucking pegged in the face, right? But they're the people smart enough to come up with these plans. Donald Trump's not writing Project 2025. Donald Trump is sitting out there on the golf course and anybody like, what would be a good idea? We should get rid of the Department of Education. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, because like those fucking educated kids hate you, and he's like, yeah, no, that like you just stroke his ego, and it's like, yeah, Donald, I think it'd be a real big dick thing to do if you renamed Mount Denali and said, fuck you to those pussy natives and stuff and like all that. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a good thing to do. But like, all you have to do to manipulate him a little bit is that stuff. But he's not
And
smart
we saw
enough to.
this.
Mm-hmm.
We
He's
saw
not
this
smart
with
enough.
Canada and Mexico. Oh, yes,
Mhm.
Trump, let's make an agreement. We're going to do this shit we've already been fucking doing for 3
Mhm.
years to avoid
Mhm.
tariffs.
Oh yeah, but
No,
you're a
I'm
big
great.
strong man.
I've
You
got a
scared
big
us
Glad you're a
TV.
good
I
boy.
with
made
your
a
big
deal.
tariffs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, he didn't
so-
do
tired.
He didn't do shit.
It's tired.
So the problem is that like they need him to gain the power to gain the public support to get the power. And they need the Elon Musks to do that because they don't have that ability to gain that portion of it. That's why they needed Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a Trump for boomers and Silent Gen, right? Like he was not nearly as unpolished as Trump, but we're halfway
TV
through
star.
the progression to idiocracy. But yeah, he was an actor. He was progressing through dementia through his entire presidency. He had no idea what the fuck was going on the entire time. But you stroked his ego and told him, you can play a big tough guy on TV and Mr. Gorbachev tear down this wall type shit, and he was all there for that. And so they had him, and then they didn't really have a ton of that going forward. They had George Bush, who wasn't
Gabby.
wasn't quite. They got a little bit of their stuff done, and then they got Trump, and they're like, okay, they can't really control him, but they need him to get the power that they've got, and that's where we're at with this. Is
They can at least point him in a certain direction. They know he's unhinged, but they know that he can be unhinged this way.
He's easily manipulated.
It's like fucking Angry Birds. Like, let's just slingshot him away, and he just goes and just knocks shit down, and they're like, ha, something worked.
Oh, I'm just seeing like an orange bird now added to Angry Birds.
Looks like the
An
random
orange
shit in
phallic
play.
shaped bird.
Fucking like Cheeto dust.
Yeah.
But it's a gas cloud that lingers and just chews away things slowly.
I'm not gonna lie, I really want some Cheetos now.
Oh, there you go. Get oots.
I should have brought snacks with me to this couch.
Yeah, that's why I had some nuts over here, some elotes. It's there's so much to talk about here. Like so, we talked about Hegseth. We talked about what about Doug Collins? Y'all hear about him with the VA, the guy who wants to privatize the VA? He's part of the guy who pushed for the hiring freeze, which completely destroyed everything VA and government. That just hurts. That has screwed me over this transition over to Minnesota. Something fierce personally. I can speak about it, but this guy is an absolute monster who wants to. I don't even know how you would privatize the VA, but like he wants to give it to something like United Health and say, well, here you go. And we're already kind of getting the shit into the stick here. We're getting the lowest bidder health care and already don't get enough. I'm falling apart here, having seizures every day. It's just another part of the part. Hey, here's another one of the establishments, that have been going well or been chugging along, getting it done. And now, hey, let's go and flip it on its head. Let's cause this chaos. And it's another instance of, someone mentioned the Joker in The Dark Knight or whatever. It's like the Joker saying he's a dog chasing cars. He wouldn't know what to do with if he caught one. And, well, they caught the car, and they don't even know to, tinkle on the rim, let alone, chew on the hubcap.
The thing with Doug Collins, he wants to, like I said, privatize the VA. You've been hearing for the last 20 years on the right, we need to run the government like a business. And then Donald Trump comes along. But here is the thing. The government is not a business. The government does things like provide services. You are not meant to make money on services. Libraries are not meant to make money. Public schools are not meant to make money. The VA is not meant to make money. It's not a business. It is a service. Yes. Do libraries take some money in? Yes, they do. Do schools take some money in? Yes, they do. Does the VA take some money in? Yes, they do, but overall, they are taxpayer-funded services for the betterment of society, not businesses. Businesses, the goal is to make as much money
It's
as
investment,
possible.
and you can, even if you want to, even if you want to stick with their, we need to run the country, let's say the country as a business. All of these things are investments. This is R&D. This is infrastructure. This is all of the things that that business needs to run. If our country is a business, and if there's ever a country that's been a business, it's the fucking United States. Like, you need, like, businesses have training programs, right, to make sure that their people can do the best job that they can do. That's our Department of Education. That's our schools. That's for making sure that we have the most qualified people in the world doing all of the jobs. You need roads and bridges and everything for commerce to function, period. That's the government's job, is to make sure that we have roads and commerce. You need to be able to communicate with people. That's why we've got the post office. You need people to be healthy so they can go to work. That's why they need health care. All of these things are investments. Like, running a business isn't just about cutting costs and bringing in profit, although they try to make it more and more about that every year because shareholder returns sink businesses. Like, that's the worst thing to ever happen to the economy, was allowing for shareholder returns to be a priority. But the point is that if we're running the country like a business, the country is making sure that everything is there to make sure that the government's there to make sure that everything the country needs to be healthy and efficient and educated and qualified is there. And we can still use that analogy. It's just investment. It's the R&D side. You got to spend money to make money, and the government is there to spend that money so the country can make money. And it's just, and that's what it does. It's just, is it doing it for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and no one else, or is it doing it for all of us? And that's what we need to decide, is, do we want that money spent so it benefits all of us and the country makes money, or, because we're the shareholders, right? Do we want our shareholder returns, or do we want the CEO getting all the money?
Yep. And how do we communicate to all these people who are just now learning how to get on the internet, who are 20 years behind, believing
tariffs?
Googling tariffs, just for, hey Siri, what's a tariff? And then you got to start learning about Starlink's gonna get me the Ocho on the internet so I can watch dodgeball. Sweet, They're attacking every institution that there is. Fuck, look at what's happening with the FAA. How many air disasters have we had in the last 2 weeks? Record breaking. Like, hey, look at
that's again back to Elon Musk. And this is back to the deep state stuff that we were trying to prove, because I even had a bullet point in my outline about this. Is Elon Musk has been mad at all of the people responsible for aviation safety because he's like, I want to launch a rocket in 47 minutes, and they're like, no, you can't do that. Like, we need to make sure that we reroute air traffic around that. We need a couple days warning at least. And he's been pissed about being told no because he's a gigantic baby, like Donald Trump is. And so now he's in a position where Donald Trump's just letting him fire whoever the fuck he wants to fire, and he fired everybody who's ever told him no in aviation safety, and then we immediately have planes just falling out of the sky like it's fucking rain. What?
Yeah, and you even want to talk deep state with SpaceX. 1/3 of SpaceX's revenue comes from where? Take a guess.
The U.S. fucking government. How much is Tesla? Government. How much has Tesla got from it? Like, Tesla's gotten millions, if not billions of dollars from the government. And that's not even talking about the carbon credits they sell, which is just a ridiculous thing. Like, carbon credits, to me, being able to sell them is a ridiculous thing. But yeah, I mean, he's one of the biggest welfare queens in the world. He gets more government handouts.
Tesla's at around $3 billion in subsidies, both federal and state. Mostly state, but $300 million in federal grants.
So and there's tax write-off on top.
Right.
Tax write-offs, and I don't think that the carbon credits count as subsidies, but they in theory are. They wouldn't exist. They wouldn't exist without the government requiring them, so... And Tesla wouldn't exist without the carbon credit, being able to sell the carbon credits to GM and Ford and everybody else.
And a lot of that Tesla money came from just setting up Tesla charging stations.
Right.
Tesla to electric vehicles is what Apple is to cell phones. You need a very special Tesla charging station
Mm-hmm.
to charge your Tesla. Then you have the USB-C of the electric vehicle world, where Chevy, Mazda, Toyota, whatever, can all charge from the same nozzle. So Tesla gets all that extra money to make the specialized Tesla ones.
Yeah, but they got forced into making the standardized one, and that's why he was throwing a fit and closed down or fired all the people who were in charge of making those charging stations and R&D in it, because he was throwing a fit against that. Well, guess what? Too bad. Government said, no, we're taking this, or you're going to do it for us. And then so there he goes. He has to make the normal ones.
The perfect like analogy, because you used iPhone as an example, is the EU was like, you can't have your special fucking chargers anymore. This is bullshit that you're doing this. It's fucking over customers. You need to go to USB-C like everybody else. There's no reason not to. And so they were forced to. And then here in the United States, Apple's like, oh, look, we're going to USB-C. Like, they advertised it like they did some great thing. And they're just forced to because that's what the EU made them do. And that's, you know,
and to add insult to injury on that, if you don't use their USB-C, they've made it so it's still proprietary to a degree. So if you use anything else, it won't give you rapid charge. And even if you have a nice cable or whatever, they still made it proprietary glitch out, like to a degree, if you want to call it that. It's ridiculous.
You gotta pay for that seat warmer in that BMW you just purchased, man. You know?
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Right
I know, that was the worst.
Are they still trying that? Like, did that?
I don't think it caught on. But
I want a subscription for my ABS.
Right. I want a subscription for a $100,000 SUV.
I saw a Cybertruck today, in the snow. It wasn't doing well. And it's Virginia snow, so it's not snow like y'all got over there. So, like, this is like baby's first snow. But this thing was sliding the hill, and its little light bar was all frosted up. You couldn't see shit. It looked like a sad trash can. In fact, I think I saw a raccoon chasing behind it, like, wait, I want dinner.
Well, I'm back to Elon being a fucking toddler and naming everything X and Y and all that kind of shit. The fucking Cybertruck, which is the one he pushed because he had actual designers. Like, the rest of the Tesla lineup is pretty slick looking cars for the most part. Then you get the Cybertruck, and he's like, that was his baby. He pushed that thing so fucking hard, and literally, it's something fucking. I had Pinewood Derby cars that looked better, way better than that.
Right.
Like, I'm 4 years old, and I'm a better automotive designer than fucking Elon Musk with his fucking triangle truck.
It's like drawing a 2D car when you're in first grade with crayons. You always got the windows at the side. That's all it was. He was like drunk. I got a car for everybody.
I tell you,
and then
you're having somebody kind of related in your comments. You're having somebody who's trying to get the whole like, well, they're trying to find the waste and fraud kind of thing. It's like, here's the thing, Democrats, we would love to find that waste and fraud. Do you think Elon Musk and pushing his Cybertruck and pushing his SpaceX thing is the waste and fraud guy? Again, not trying to
the guy we're sending all the money to.
This guy just
blowing it up. And I didn't realize that there's somebody who actually believes is dumb enough to believe that Elon Musk of all people is finding waste and fraud in the U.S. government. Yeah, I mean, he's the king. He probably could find it. He's the king of receiving it, but he's got no incentive to find it. And here's the thing: it doesn't matter.
Look at the Cybertruck. Look at all the recalls on the Cybertruck. Waste and fraud.
It also doesn't matter, even if he was doing the best job in the world, finding waste and fraud. He's doing it, which I know, right? He's doing it through unauthorized channels. We have channels for a reason, where we don't just pick random billionaires off the street and allow them to just run roughshod through the government. And if it was George Soros doing this, they'd be having a fucking meltdown, right? And I wouldn't want George Soros doing this. So, I'm still waiting for my Soros check, and maybe I'm just a little salty that he hasn't sent it to me yet, and that's why I don't want him doing it. But, they keep telling me I'm getting all these Soros checks, and I'm just like, did he get the wrong address? Where's customer service? I haven't found the number yet. But that's the thing, is like there's reasons that people have to go through security clearances. There's reasons people have to go through confirmation hearings. There's reasons that there is checks and balances to make sure that qualified people are doing a qualified job, or hopefully and there's some recourse if they're not. And so even if he had the purest of intentions, it would still be wrong. And he
Even when we
clearly
talk
doesn't
about
have the purest intentions.
Checks, no
even you
balance.
talking about security clearances, Elon Musk would not be approved for a security clearance. Kash
Nope.
Patel would not be approved
Who
for
are
a
you
security
trolling?
clearance. Pete Hegseth would not be approved for a security clearance.
Folks,
Tulsi
like-
Gabbard would
folks,
not be approved for a security clearance. They're in charge of
$5,000
this
in
shit.
debt used to stop you from getting a secret. I used to be the guy that in the army, you had to go fill out it's called a SF-86. It's the start to the roto-rooter of going through your life. It is the invasive paperwork that starts everything. And it's the same thing throughout the whole government. It is the standard form. That's what SF is, standard form, SF, and that's standard form 86. Sorry, I had to say the acronym. It's just weird without, saying it. And you're absolutely correct. None of them would ever get a security clearance, and none of them hold one. And if you remember earlier, I was talking about that. How are they able to rifle through it? I'm over here having panic attacks, losing sleep over this shit because of the standards in which I upheld and was held to. I mean, hell, the paperwork I had to sign yearly saying I won't collect on U.S. citizenship, which means, hey, I won't go through servers full of data with social security numbers unless I have a subpoena or an extreme need of national security. And you know how many times in my 8 years of active duty I did that? And then outside of the government without a subpoena? Zero. Nada. Zilch. None. And then it's extremely detrimental to our way of life. And I don't think people understand just to the degree the nightmare scenario we're in.
It was, sorry, this is sort of irrelevant, but I try not to ever get in Facebook arguments anymore, and I've been really good about it because TikTok has now been my outlet, so I'm not just writing paragraphs of shit nobody will ever read anymore. So it's been really good for my mental health, and I appreciate everybody on social media now who allows me to do that. But I did a little bit here recently. There's a local community group for Forest Lake, Minnesota that is a cesspool. Like, it's Forest Lake, Minnesota is just a clan meeting that's just constantly going on. I've become convinced it is like the trend. No, don't go to Forest Lake. I don't know why it's so bad. Like, it's a half hour north of the metro. It's like the biggest little town between here and Duluth. And
it's pretty wealthy. It's a pretty wealthy town.
Yeah, but they're just like this was the place where the lady got mad because her kid's First Amendment rights were being infringed because her kid couldn't call other kids a retard. Like, she went to a school board meeting and said that. And that's why I joined the group, because I'm like, I want to see what's going on down here. And it was so much worse. Like, that was the tame shit. Like, there's literally straight up white supremacists in there being like, Hitler did nothing wrong type shit. Like, insane.
Don't you
that's where Pete Hegseth, lady? That's where Pete Hegseth is from, by the way, is Forest Lake.
Oh,
no shit.
That explains the fucking Nazi tattoos.
Don't you remember my flag lady from last year? Because she was from around that area too. This is my flag. You can't change the Minnesota flag.
Yeah. Would you ask any Minnesotan before the whole flag controversy came about, can you describe the Minnesota flag? And they'd be like,
it's blue.
It's blue? Yeah, like, I couldn't have fucking told you what was on that thing. But anyway, so I was in there, and they're sharing pro-Republican shit, and I've just been less give a fuck lately and calling people out, and they've shared some meme about, like, oh, all the people mad about Elon's software engineers' ages in the Department of Treasury had no problem believing a 13-year-old, and it was a picture of Greta. And it's like, Greta never had my social security number, you dumb, disingenuous motherfucker. And this guy's like, oh, a social security number doesn't mean anything. I can get that, like, tomorrow. And I'm like, no, you fucking can't. And I'm like, fucking post it. Post it. Post it right here, right now. Fucking post it. Because he's like, I can get it right now, is first what he starts off on. And then he's like, well, I have to go to my computer at work tomorrow and I can get it. I'm like, no, you fucking can't. Fucking post it. And he's like, oh, you live at such and such address. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I did. It's not. It's a house I own, but it's not. It's not an address.
It's easy to look at your name.
Yeah, I'm like, cool. So, and he's like, and your dog's named Sedona, and I'm like, congrats, you looked at my Facebook profile. Good job. That's not my social security number. And he's like, I can get it. And he's like, I'm going to show it just so you piss me off. I'm like, good. I told you to fucking post it. Post it right here. Guess what? He still hasn't fucking posted it.
When he does, that's a felony.
These motherfuckers, though.
I was hoping.
I literally saw them posting. So if a 9-year-old can decide that they're going to get a surgery that changes their gender forever, why is it okay for a 19-year-old to... No 9-year-olds are given gender-affirming surgeries, dumb fuck. I'm sorry you are so easily and aggressively manipulated that you fucking believe the stupidest goddamn shit in the world. But let's go back to the thing at hand here of there's 19-year-olds who have access to your fucking social security. This 19-year-old motherfucker got fired from his previous job because he was sharing information. And that's who Elon Musk lets get on his hands and knees and fellatiate him.
I mean, to be fair, when I was 19, I had a TSSCI and all the different read-ons and access. Oh, wait, but I had this thing. Hold on, what is it called? Need to fucking know. Right? Like, and these... Oh, my God, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare. This is just a nightmare. Yeah, I hate it. And there's nothing we can do but wait for the politicians to maybe do something. Maybe cross our fingers, because there's not a thing that any of us here can do or then call angrily.
And I think because we're probably over time at this point, but I think that's a nice thing to wrap this back up with was the fact that we were talking earlier about the flood the field thing and how we have all of this overwhelming information coming at us, and that's the point. But that's also they're playing with fire a tad bit because they push the wrong button, they piss off the wrong people, the wrong number of people at the wrong time. They hit the wrong pressure points, and it gets very French, very quickly. And I don't know where that is, and I don't want it to come to that. Like, I do not want to see a violent revolution. As much as I joke about guillotines, and as much as I would not shed a tear over joyfully watching a few individuals I'm not convinced are human be guillotined, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't think that anybody who is not a fucking sociopath actually wants to see that. But eventually that becomes the only option, and if they continue to push this the wrong way, too much, too often, that is kind of the point where the ice starts to crack, right?
Well, here's the thing. When there's not been any fine-tuned consequence of action. I mean, look, we had the insurrectionists now get away with murder, and even before then, we have 34 felonies, and this dude's still able to be the commander-in-chief. Literally, there's no accountability. There's none. Unless you're a boogeyman, DEI. Like, ooh, DEI, yet again. But unless you fit that bill, you can get away. Like, I think we are at the point where he, like he said, he can go down and, cap somebody in the street and he would get away with it. And until there's anybody being held accountable and, like, the book thrown at him, quite literally, maybe a, hard-edged one, you're not going to see any, any change. I think we're already there because there's you can get away with anything, and it sucks.
This is why I literally have my recurring everyday segment on my TikTok where I tell you today is day 24 of waiting for the McDonald's to save us all, because what else is going to save us? Waiting for somebody to have a heart attack from McDonald's on a lie.
Yeah, we're just waiting for that cholesterol clot to let loose, and
Just what's going to save us right now? What's going to save us?
NATO.
Well, I mean, it's going to be. Yeah. It's economic strife is always the pressure point. It's never going to be anything other than people being put in a position that is too economically painful to get out of it, and it's sad because it really doesn't matter what's happening to your fellow man. The civil rights stuff, like, yeah, people push for civil rights, but the civil rights stuff still comes out of economic strife. You had enough people oppressed to the point where, and this is why we go back to economic populism. That's what Trump that's what Trump won on, regardless of if he ever intended on doing it, which he never did, and regardless if people were too stupid to see that, which they clearly were. Economic populism was still what he won on. And even when it gets down to the racism, it's economic populism, or the economics of the brown people's fault. It's the brown people's fault that I'm poor. It's the brown people's fault that I can't get ahead. It's the brown people's fault, but it's still the fact that I'm poor and I can't get ahead. It's still the fact, like, if you gave all of these angry motherfuckers health care and like decent living wage and all the protections that you have, there's a reason that all these Nordic countries and shit, I mean, they're super white there too, so I guess that probably helps, but like there's a reason that you don't see all of this severe racial tension in those places. Like, you give people economic security and it's a lot harder to be hateful, but when you have economic insecurity, you're looking for somebody to blame. And if you know how to manipulate that, and that's why economic populism is the only thing that's going to save us, and that's why economic pressure is the only thing that's going to spur any actual resistance or revolt, and it sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like,
when poor people start to realize, and I include myself in that, I work in education. When I get asked at Thanksgiving what I make, I tell them I make a difference. When poor people start realizing we have more in common with each other than we do with Elon Musk or with Donald Trump or with Joe Biden or with whoever, that is when we will start to see change. Right now, the working class continues to squabble amongst itself based on who's more patriotic or who works harder or who works less hard or who's whiter or who's browner or whatever.
Well, they're getting fed so much disinformation and hate.
We need to realize we have more in common than we do. I am closer to being homeless than I am to being Elon Musk.
Homeless in 6 days. Yay. Like, seriously.
I mean, you're closer to being homeless than you are to being a millionaire, honestly, if we're really being like realistic. So
yeah. Wait, so you're telling me I can't become a millionaire on TikTok? Damn. Not anymore.
I mean, you can. Are you going to? Probably not, especially doing this kind of content. Yeah, no, they don't. I'm still pissed. I had a video that I would have gotten paid over $1,000 for. It was like first time in a while that I would have gotten a video that would have even come close to that, and they fucking removed it for sexual harassment. I made your mom joke.
And I can't even get my stuff to get past 1,000 views now. They got me in lockdown again. I'm trying to get a 1,000 viewers or 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube. Hint, hint.
Follow Grid Squares on YouTube. Trevor, you're doing stuff on YouTube now too, right?
I have some on YouTube, yeah. Apparently, I need to just start selling feet pics instead, though.
Yeah, there you go. Paint your toenails and sell it to Republicans. I think that was a good overview of not the deep state, but we kind of touched on it here and there. So I think that was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys coming on today.
Agreed. Thank you.
Us. Yeah, thank you.
And we'll have to have you back on once the find out stage hits, and we can tell people what explain exactly how we got to that stage. So.
Oh, absolutely. Come a little more prepared next time.
Oh, I mean, there's nothing to prepare for. We were just. Oh
no! I'm just saying. Sorry. I was just saying with all with whatever stats we're gonna have for that day, because there's always something new.
I mean, we can bring up all the numbers, but I don't think the people that need to hear them are going to listen in. So,
yeah, you're right. Right.
You can give them all the facts they want, but because it doesn't hit that confirmation bias, they don't care.
They'll take and
move the goalpost.
They were the facts over feelings. At least they like to say they were, but they have always been the feelings over facts.
Well, thank you everybody who has participated. I am going to let these guys do their shameless self-promotions, their shameless plugs, any projects you guys are working on, any places you want people to follow you, anything like that. Please let them know. We'll start with you, Trevor. Or we'll start with you, whoever grid. Just somebody got awkward dead space.
I'll break the awkward silence. Okay, hey folks, I'm Grid Squares. You can find me on YouTube as Grid Squares, TikTok, and on Substack. I got a link tree. You'll find me there and everything I'm doing. Currently, do need some help. I'm moving to Minnesota here in 6 days to go be in the very, very cold place from the East Coast. Disabled veteran, would love to hear you in my little rough neck of the woods. I'm going to pass it off to Trevor so we don't have any more of that awkward. Trevor.
Yep, TrevorBWG. Again, I do the TikTok videos. I'm the one who reads Trump True Social, so you don't have to. I guess that's kind of my thing that I've been known for recently. But I do a lot of just, political current events content, where I try to keep the sensationalism out of it. And then I also just try and provide the correct amount of snark. Because especially lately, the news is just so much where you need to be able to have a bit of a sense of humor about it. So if you're not following me on the TikTok, I'm TrevorBWG on TikTok. I have a YouTube. I barely ever use it. That needs to change. But you can find me, TrevorBWG, through my link tree as well.
And don't forget to look for him on Trevor BW Feet on OnlyFans coming up here pretty soon.
Yep, the upcoming Trevor BW Feet. So $5 per foot. So if you want both feet, that'll be $10.
Wow, that's expensive feet pics. I don't know.
Hey,
better be
my
some good
feet
feet.
have been decorated and are pretty.
I still think we should do a social experiment where you paint your toenails and get those uncomfortably gender flexible Republicans out there who are just really fighting with themselves, and see how much money you make off of them, and then we can come back and just present our scientific. Yeah, exactly. Then we can come back and present our findings and just let them know. Hey guys, it's okay.
Do MAGA feet pics? MAGA feet pics?
We're gonna break Grindr again. We're gonna take over all social media.
I got the best feet. I got the best feet you've ever seen.
No cankers.
Better than Stormy Daniels' feet, let me tell you.
I'll get my toes waxed. It'll be fine. I'll get my toes waxed. The little toe hairs will come off.
Ooh. Do like a little orange makeup on your...
I'll get a purchase. It'll be like Trump for life.
You gotta get some heels and stuff though too. Really, you gotta dress them up. You can't just go there barefoot.
That's what I was saying.
Trevor's gonna have to go blonde. Trevor's gonna have to go blonde.
No. Bleach those tootsies.
Feet pics only.
All right. Well, this is a Minnesota goodbye if I have ever seen one.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you everybody for listening, for watching. Everybody in the comments who hangs out with us when we do this live. Everybody who sticks with us every week for the actual edited, recorded, somewhat professional-ish releases of these. We appreciate the hell out of you guys.
It comes out perfectly the first time. There's no editing.
No editing whatsoever. If you guys want to support us,
if you guys are watching this not live, just know I showed my feet for 15 minutes and it was a party. They edited that part out.
It's true. It's true. You got us there.
We had some Trumpers in the comments wanting to see if they actually left or not. We were taking this science seriously.
Subscribe, like the videos, guys. Share them if you can. Subscribe on Patreon. Subscribe through YouTube memberships. We got a great community there, and we'd love to chat with you guys there as well.
Also, I think we're launching the podcast on Substack as well. I do have a Substack now, Off Joe Wagon, so I think the podcast, if Taylor can figure it out, because I don't do anything with the podcast aside from run my goddamn mouth. So thanks to Taylor, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for him. And also, offjoewagon.com has our merch for both the podcast with the Meat Toast merch and my own merch. So wherever you can send us money, we need it. We're poor,
We appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.